So Akhenaten was one of the first monotheists, doing away with the various parts of the whole where we see the pantheon of gods and just unifying things, gaining a perspective that way. I guess you can break that down looking at different systems and even seeing how they can unify. And part of what these images are showing are natural systems, showing the relationship between species. There's all sorts of mirrors here, but there's a few main ones. So how it talked about it's exposing a virus, something with an innocent mask as well, because the whole scene's masked. There's hidden venom here, as we can see. It's basically a hidden image in the some other layer of reality. So yeah, something that's suggesting something that can't be seen with the physical eyes necessarily. How it's showing this blend. I was using this blending technique with molding into the scene around, like everything's molded together really and connected, even with the separation in a way. So it's actually, when it talks about a virus, you think, ooh, bad, get away, but it's showing where it is, where it fits in this system, where it resides, its nature, its actions. So I guess in the subtitle with the vampires, like how I said, how she's in a carrying symbolism, once again probably hidden symbolism, of Osiris, the X, and I think he was possibly the first mummy or something, first made fossil. And represented always with the X. There's a lot of origins with Osiris, so she's carrying those. So we have to even, I went from Da Vinci and I looked back further into this line of perspective. It's talking about origins. It's telling us even to go back to there. So we'll go, probably in the next video, we'll go back even further into ancient Egypt. This is only around the end of the dynastic period, which shows those beginnings and endings, connections there. Basically, marking the end of something with the end of the Assyrian era. She's alive, but she's showing a state of death in the symbolism, and talking about vampires, the living dead, I guess you could say. Like, it's suggesting phrases to us, speaking to us in that way, on a lot of levels. This stuff, I mean, begun to get into it, I suppose, but it goes pretty deep. There's hidden things in it. Even up here, I'll try and get it close up, but that section It's like a top view of the tomb, and there's like another path up to it. It looks like it's two broken pieces. Interesting to see what happened if you join them together and got real microscopic on it, because there's scenes in there. Yeah, there's certain techniques. That are used and recognizable. So where are we? Living Dead. Okay, so you got that's my channel. You got like Prince Charles bragging about how he's related to Vlad Dracul. He's actually related, I found out, through Vlad Dracul, otherwise known as Dracula, his brother, and then more recently in the line through Mary of Kent. So it's not a direct line. And when we're talking about the virus, it's very closely associated in modern day with these vampire stories. Vampire was, I guess, pretty monstrous in the beginning in the first stories and in ancient times, and then slowly gained a innocent mask in the form of a human being in the stories too, and I suspect in real life it's rather innocently portrayed here. I think that's pretty much what it's trying to tell. And like with the traits of I've been talking about, doing like the virus doing its own gene editing in there, replicating empathy, getting rid of that, and to do what Vlad the Impaler did, like impale people. It takes, a lack of empathy there in a way, like in a big way, I suppose. And it's basically what I've been talking about, is the virus, what it's doing in there, how it contributes to human perception. But yeah, they're including it in the system. There is, it seems to be a major factor. It's saying we're evolving with it, and even back then, like, it's already at this level. So it's interesting that it's found with the elite as well. And they seem to want to infiltrate every single bloodline, you know what I mean? Like how, like Da Vinci shows, like it's using these mechanisms to pretty much obtain his genetics, like trying to trigger some primal function through like this subconscious recognition, basically replicating his genes to attract him, which didn't seem to work, but he made his point of it, because something, he kept this painting with him his whole life, and perfected it, eventually simplified it over time. So in a way, there's another vampiric association that rises. It's this viral thing is after his blood, I suspect, because it's programming, it's come across it, it's recognized it, and realized it can evolve with it, mutate, change form, who knows, or gain more ability. But there's obviously some transforming factor. There that it's able to use ideally. So in some cases, say the virus is at the same levels, it's at different levels. It seems to sometimes get stumped and become repressed, but then it can, depending maybe who it comes in contact with and who's aware of this and who does what with it, and finds whatever relationships. So yeah, it's interesting with Prince Charles too, with the Queen, the royal, like when it comes to the occult, I showed like this venom, like these stingers, how there's like insect associations, like perspective on species, looking at the hive. Yeah, with it's pretty important, like what the Queen represents. I'll have to get pretty occult in other videos. Yeah, I'll do, because it gets into a bit of occult science there. But it'll go into like astro theology, I suppose, as well. I guess what, yeah, because we'll have to go into Isis and Osiris. It's telling us to check even more ancient origins too, so we'll have to look at the origins of the virus as well, which will probably lead to looking into Set, his opposition to Osiris. Isis and Sirius, those connections. Yeah, might get a bit electric, but yeah, like the Queen Bee. Yeah, it's no real these days. I mean, yeah, no real use. But yeah, for the occult people, these things are very important. So I think I've made the main associations with this, the virus, this vampiric bloodline. I mean, Elizabeth Bathory was another one in that Eastern European kind of situation. She came after Vlad. I think she was Hungarian. And she was just devouring young females. So yeah, there is something going on there, and they are quite viral, and race nothing matters to them. Like order, they'll infiltrate everything. Yeah, with this use, and there are external off-worlds, I'm sure, associations, which is part of their pact. It's all part of their covenant with the unseen, the head. Always trying to reunite the head with the body, the corpse, the corporation. Goes back to, like, you know, the old stories of the Antichrist getting decapitated, and yeah, a lot of people getting decapitated, revenge, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, this is the world beneath the one you see.